As Watergate seems to be coming to an end, here's a recap of what has happened as of recently. On the grounds of abuse of power, contempt of Congress, and failure to comply, the House of Representatives has impeached President Nixon, and we are still waiting on the White House's response. We also wait on Senate investigation of the impeachment. Impeachment comes as a shock as the Supreme Court tied with a 4-4 vote on whether or not Nixon had to produce the tapes. But as the White House did not produce the tapes according to Judge Sirica's order, the House did not give any leeway to Nixon's staff. Some faction leaders had some opinions to share before the impeachment. Here are some words from Mike Mansfield. Mr. Mansfield, thank you for joining us.
Of course.
In reaction to what has happened from the Supreme Court ruling, what's your take on it? What does it mean for America? And do you think that perhaps Nixon's the biggest threat to democracy at this point?
Yeah, I think he's a huge threat to democracy at the point. I mean, with the Supreme Court ruling, because there is a tie, it should go back to the most recent lower court. And so, since Sirica decided that we need to issue the subpoena and we need to get the tapes out, it, by law, is the decision that the president has to release the tapes. And what the president's staff is doing right now is illegal. They need to release these tapes. I mean, it is just direct law.
Do you think this perhaps is grounds for impeachment?
Yes, sir. I think that having, like even if we forget about everything that's happened at Watergate, him not releasing the tapes itself is a crime. So he is grounds for impeachment.
Do you think that all of Congress can come to these terms?
No, I think there is some that want more evidence. They want the tapes directly and want it to be based off of Watergate. But by definition, this is a misdemeanor, and in the Constitution it states high crimes and misdemeanors, and so this would fall under that category, leading for grounds for impeachment.
Thank you. Mr. Buzzhard, this Supreme Court ruling, what does it mean for America? Break this down for the people.
Well, to break it down in its simplest terms, it means that the constitutional mandate of the judiciary does not exist, and that the Supreme Court has an inability to make a ruling, and with that being said, the executive has no prerogative or need to turn over any tapes of any way, shape, or form. I think it's a great day for democracy in America. I think that it defends executive privilege and it defends the separation of powers outlined by the founders in the Constitution. And I think the last thing that I could say is that I think this is good for the American people, that this witch hunt, this sham come to an end, and that the president will be very happy to be able to get back to work as commander-in-chief and leading his domestic and foreign policy agenda. But from a legal perspective, I think it's a great day for the country and for all three branches of government. Thank you.